you work like a dog all month so that you can afford every single hand that's sticking out in your face saying, you have to pay this because otherwise you won't have car insurance because you need car insurance to drive, and you need car insurance because you have to drive a car and you have to go to your job and you have to do all this stuff. The utility company, the water company, they all speak to you as though you are voluntarily doing this, as though they are doing you a favor. You hit this person and then apparently she was injured. Well, how do we know that? I mean, what do you mean she was injured? The only conceivable point of having car insurance is in case something like this happened. They would just be like, well, because you have to do that.
So guys, I was scrolling on TikTok and I ran into this clip of this guy just descending into madness. Now, this is one of the most relatable descents into madness you're ever going to see, but he's still descending into madness nonetheless. So I don't want to give any spoilers. Let's just get right into the video and you guys can just see where it goes.
I got a call this morning from AAA. AAA is a car insurance company. Car insurance is something that you pay for because you have to for some reason. When you become an adult and you attempt to live in society, every single aspect of being alive costs between $100 and $1,000 to $2,000. Every single thing.
Facts.
And the older that you get, the more things keep being added. So you work like a dog all month so that you can afford every single hand that's sticking out in your face saying, you have to pay this because otherwise you won't have car insurance because you need car insurance to drive, and you need car insurance because you have to drive a car and you have to go to your job and you have to do all this stuff. And please, if you're thinking at this point, well, you don't have to have car insurance. If you want to drive a car, then you have to get insurance because that's your decision. No, it isn't. No, it's not my decision because I live in a city that is car dependent. I live in a country that is car dependent. So don't be fucking cute and say that I should take the Los Angeles Metro. Spare me. Got a call this morning from AAA law enforcement. Or fucking goddamn it. From AAA, I don't even know what it, from AAA car insurance. Yeah. AAA car insurance. And they said, Mr. Henschel, there's a problem. One other thing about being an adult is that you have something called a cell phone. On your cell phone, you get about 100 calls a week that are complete gibberish nonsense from a basement in Malaysia. You get 100 phone calls a week from random series of numbers. If you answer the phone call, you will hear complete silence. You also get one phone call a week that if you don't pick it up, it will ruin your life.
Right. And anytime you get those type of phone calls, it's never somebody giving you money. It's always you owe somebody, or somebody calling to collect, yada, yada, yada. It's never just somebody going, oh, let's just give you some money. You already know it's always going to be something negative anytime you get one of them unexpected calls. Part of the worst part about this whole ordeal is the money that you're going to make is usually more predictable than the bills that are just going to happen in your life. And it seems like every time you're getting to the point where you're a little bit ahead, there's always something that's going to drag you back down to where you was. And it's really because everything has become a subscription model. Even when you want to buy something, the buy now, pay later is just another way for something to become a subscription model. Uber Eats and DoorDash now has buy now, pay later. People are literally doing subscriptions for a burrito bowl. The World Economic Forum said by 2030, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And I can see it go in that direction because with these subscription models, you don't really own anything. You're just kind of borrowing it and paying to use it monthly. And that's how they start you on the hamster wheel. Now life has become a subscription.
So somewhere in there is an extremely important phone call. The same thing happens with your mail.
Yeah.
Every week, you get 1,000 fucking pieces of trash. And one very, very important letter that if you don't answer, you go to jail.
Yeah.
This morning, I got one of those phone calls in the magic grab bag. And I picked it up. It was AAA. And they said, Mr. Henschel, unfortunately, It seems that there was a lapse in your coverage because you switched your driver's license. You had a Maryland driver's license, and then you got a California driver's license. And you need to give us your California driver's license information now. Otherwise, you don't get to have car insurance. And if you drive your car, you can go to jail. So I said, okay. Keep in mind also, the thing that really bothers me about all these people, car insurance, credit card, landlords, fucking everybody, the utility company, the water company, they all speak to you as though you are voluntarily doing this, as though they are doing you a favor. Yeah. I don't want to pay for any of this shit. I don't want to do any of this. I didn't ask to do any of this at all. I didn't ask for it. I didn't even have to be fucking alive. I don't want to do this. I don't want to pay my car insurance. I don't want car insurance. I don't want to give you my new driver's license. I don't want to fucking do that, but I have to for some fucking reason, because for some fucking reason, in order to be alive, you have to pay 20 different people $200. And you have to keep reciting random digits of numbers. Everything about being alive is just fucking numbers over and over again. Important numbers for this, important numbers for that. You gotta type in this password, you gotta type in this number, you gotta type in this thing, and if you get it wrong, you're gonna go to jail. I didn't say any of this to the lady. I just said, sure, let me just give you this fucking number so that I can move on with my life and attempt to enjoy anything about anything. Here it is. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clacks for a little while. And then she says, I'm sorry, Mr. Henschel. We can't offer you coverage. So I said, excuse me? Because I've had AAA for 3 fucking years. What's the problem? And she said, well, it appears that you were in an accident about a year ago. And I said, yeah, I was. I was in a fender bender. My one accident that I've had in the past 5 years. Right. I drive because I'm forced to by society. I drive for about 75% of my day. Every day.
Yeah.
And one fucking time, an old lady cut in front of me going 20 miles per hour on the freeway, and I couldn't slow down in time.
Yeah.
And I bumped her in the back of the car. Remember, this is a satire account. And she said, well, it appears that this was a 2-point accident. And I was like, what does that fucking mean? Everything is numbers, remember. Random numbers that mean something for some reason. It was a 2-point accident, and we can only insure you if you have a 1-point accident.
Oh, no. And the craziest part about the insurance stuff is you're just paying so much more than what you actually get back from these companies. Like, if you're paying $200 a month and you've been doing that for the past 5 years, you're going to pay for a whole new car. So by the time you even do ever use your insurance, if they actually cover the accident, which they're incentivized not to, by the way, same with the medical and the healthcare. There's a UFC fighter right now who needs a life-saving transplant. He's probably been paying medical bills his whole life. He's probably been paying for health insurance his whole life in some way, which way for him. And if not him, his parents have before him, right? So they've already contributed into the system. Now that he needs a life-saving transplant, now they can't save his life. What am I paying health insurance for if when I need my life saved, I can't get my life saved, and you are as a company is incentivized to try to make it so that you can act like that you can't take care of the medical bills? Pay the bill, bro. The man needs to survive. This is who it was. It was Ben Askren, actually. Former UFC fighter Ben Askren recently underwent a double lung transplant after a severe health crisis. However, his insurance initially denied coverage for the life-saving surgery. Initially, Askren's insurance company denied coverage for the transplant, citing its high cost. What am I paying you for? So this UFC guy has to crowdfund his medical expenses because his family can't afford it. And luckily he's a famous UFC guy, or what? He would have just died and nobody would have even known. So he has to pay this health insurance company, and the people who get the job at the health insurance company are the people who are the most likely to deny claims, because those are people who are making the company more money, therefore making the shareholders more money. And I just think that that's insane. Like, I don't have a better system or any ideas, but I can definitely point out some of the flaws in the ones we got.
So you hit this person, and then apparently she was injured. So I was like, well, how do we know that? I mean, what do you mean she was injured? It was a very, very light accident. And so what if she was injured? Last I checked, the only conceivable point of having car insurance is in case something like this happens.
Right.
That's what car insurance is supposed to be for, in theory. When you think about if there is any rational reason why you would need to have car insurance, it is for the purpose that if at one point during the 75% of your life that you're in a fucking car, you happen to get in an accident, you're not completely fucked.
Right.
So why, if I got in one accident, am I fucked anyway? Because the last time that I checked, the reason I was paying for this fucking shit, $200 a month, $300 a month, was in case anything happened, right? So then why, if something happens, then am I not allowed to have the insurance that I fucking paid for in case something happened?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why did I bother then? What are you for? Are you just a fucking mafia that you come to collect your $200 every fucking month? And if I need to use your service for anything, then I'm totally fucked, because then I can't renew your stupid fucking insurance. And I said, so I didn't say any of this. I just said very politely.
And they pump your premiums up. So you got to pay more every month for them to actually do their job. So once they actually have to get in and do the thing that they're supposed to be doing, what you've been paying them to do, then they start charging you even more, because now you're a liability to them, as if you weren't an asset for the past 7 years when you was paying them all your money every month.
That was going through my head. And I said, well, what are my options then? And she said, well, now you can't be insured by AAA, so we work with another agency who blah, 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 and then we'll call this person, and they'll call you, and then you call them, and then they'll give you the numbers, and then you give them the numbers, and then you'll have to pay a much bigger number
Yeah, then
than you were already paying before. The point I'm trying to illustrate here is, what the fuck? I didn't ask for any of this. I, this morning, woke up and I said, God fucking damn it. I just need a fucking win. I just need one thing. Just one thing. Please, God. I don't believe in God. But I said a prayer last night. I said, God, can you please just let one good thing happen tomorrow? Because I gotta be honest here. I'm paying all these random corporations my entire paycheck, and I can't figure out why.
Mm-hmm. Because it's the golden handcuffs. They get you to sign up for all of these subscriptions that you never even get to really use because you spend so much time at work trying to pay off the subscriptions. It's the golden handcuffs that they get us to sign up for. And this is why everything has become a buy now, pay later model. It's because they know that humans are naturally impulsive. And if you can have something now and forego the consequences, people will choose to do that. And so people are doing that. But these buy now, pay now programs are starting to go bankrupt because people are choosing not to pay them back because they can't afford it. And there's interest involved in these things, insane amounts of interest. So they're already targeting a group of people who can't afford to pay for a burrito bowl, and they think that this same group of people is going to pay them back eventually, and it's just not going to happen. I honestly think that they deserve to fail because they're predatory. They're targeting people that they know are having a hard time in life, and they're going to be a little bit more impulsive with their money. Anybody who's going to finance a burrito bowl is probably more impulsive with their money anyway, and then they're expecting those people to pay them back. So if they fail and go belly up, I'd be all for it.
I don't want to, but I have to. I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pay rent. I have to pay my bullshit.
And that's one thing that's exclusive about America. Like, I've traveled to other countries, and in other countries, when you buy your house, you own your house. So there's a level of peace that you get with ownership. Now, you might not have the biggest house in the world or the nicest house in the world, but it's yours. In America, if you don't stay on the hamster wheel, if you don't pay property taxes, the government could just come and take your house. So you've already paid a mortgage, which, by the way, the word mortgage comes from the word morgue because it's such a long loan that you'll be in the morgue before you pay it off. So you pay off your 30-year loan to own your home, and if you don't keep divvying up to the government, the IRS, which is the real mob, will just come and steal your shit from you.
So that I won't be in legal trouble for driving my car. And he hasn't called me, so. I don't get it. Because I guess my honest question is, what is supposed to be the good part of this? You know, is that just a question that everybody is too stupid to ask? Is that just a question that doesn't occur to most people who don't have mental health problems? Or is that a question that they just don't think about? What is supposed to be the fucking point? Why am I doing all of this? Nobody could tell me that at any point in my childhood. When I was in high school, when I was in school, and they were saying you have to get this grade so that you can get into good college and you can get money to go to a good college, and if you go to college so you can get a job, and this is why you have to do all of these things that you don't want to do and that don't make any sense and that suck. And that is why you cannot enjoy a single second of your life, because if you do now, you won't be able to do all of these different things. And the question that I had over and over again to everybody in my life was, why? Why the fuck would I do any of that? Why do I want to do any of that? Why? What is the purpose of doing any of that? And nobody could ever give me a straight fucking answer. They would just be like, well, because you have to do that. But nobody could at any point ever tell me what the fuck was in it for me. So I didn't do it. Because I dared to ask the question, why? Don't you hate doing all of this? Why are you totally fine with all of this? Is it because you're fucking stupid? Because that's what I'm left to assume. Is it because you were too stupid to ask that question when you still had a chance to change your life? And now the fact that I am asking it is raising something inside you that you have tried to suppress so hard, because if it arises at all, you're gonna fucking kill yourself? Is that it? Because I bothered to ask why. They call me a spoiled brat. They called me entitled. And the whole time I sort of was wondering, let me remind you of something. I didn't ask to be born. I've said that in a lot of videos because it's something that I think is another question that most people don't ever consider. You are telling me all of this stuff that I have to do as if I wanted to do it in the first place. You're telling me all of this as if I should be grateful for the opportunity to do it. I'm not. Okay? If you had asked me, if at some point when I was floating around in the ether, if you had asked me, would you like to be siphoned into a human body so that you can experience what it is like to live in a bureaucratic nightmare society? The good parts will be fucking, drinking, doing drugs, falling in love, but even that gets bad eventually. Having kids if you decide that you're so bored.
This dude.
And that's it. your relations, yeah. I would have said no. I'm perfectly happy floating around in this ether here, this little ball of gas. I'm good. But I didn't have a choice because my fucking, no offense, but I am the product of somebody's boredom. The reason that I was created was because I was something to do. I was something to fill the time. I was the lazy answer to that question for somebody else. And now I am expected to perpetuate that cycle of abuse and usage. Well, I'm not going to. That's why I'm not having kids. We got enough. I'll figure something else out to do with my time. Still nothing. Well, I'll tell you this. Thank God this doesn't last forever. And thank God it doesn't make a fucking difference. Thank God. I never understood people who were afraid of death because for me, that's my why. The only answer to the questions that I've raised in this video that I've been able to come up with is because I'm going to die. It doesn't matter. Fine. Fine. I'll get to go back to the ether, the floating cloud where I was before I was born. And I don't remember that. So, fine. Maybe I'll even get reincarnated as a bougainvillea. Wouldn't that be nice?
I do think these types of videos are fun because they're super relatable, but you do have to be careful with becoming too nihilistic. Like those ideas that you had in 10th grade that some people hold on to as adults and they think that they're deep and they're somehow intellectuals because they say life has no meaning. We've all had that thought in the 10th grade, but I think the new question, I actually think that's very base level. I think the next question that you then ask to go deeper is how can we give life meaning? How can I live a life that's worth living because I'm already here? So I might as well find something to do with the time. Not everybody wants to be a super consumer, but if that's the life you want to live, choose to live that life. Avoid all the pitfalls. Avoid the golden handcuffs. Avoid some of the luxuries that we choose to sign up for in order to preserve yourself and make it so that you can live a life that you want to enjoy. And maybe you get to work less because you don't have as many of those luxuries. If you choose to do that, then teach other people to do the same thing. Maybe that's some way you can give your life a little bit more purpose and meaning. But that's going to come with discipline. You're going to have to be disciplined enough to understand that if you want to live that life, you're not going to have all of the luxuries that some of the other people may get when they sign up for these types of subscriptions. So yeah, I just think that it's super lazy sometimes to become overly nihilistic. These types of videos are fun, but you can't descend into madness and drink too much of the Kool-Aid. Find a life that's worth living. If that means being frugal and being cheap and not signing up for all these subscriptions and being the exception to the rule, eating cheap food, whatever it may be, make that your life goal and then teach other people to do the same thing. I think that's a much better pursuit than just becoming hopeless. Let me know in the comments below if this video is a W or L and give me the HBO special. That's a Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.